You remember about 6 weeks ago on this show, we were finding out about the kind of support that's available in Oxfordshire, in your neighbourhood, in your patch, for children who are caught up in a family breakdown. It's all part of the services offered by OFM. Do you remember me talking about OFM? Oxfordshire Family Mediation. Mediation is about helping people cope better with these problems. It's a way, if you like, of addressing divorce and separation, which is different from court settlements. Last time then, we looked at what's available from a children's point of view. Today, we're going to go back to the subject, but this time we're going to shift the emphasis a little bit onto the adults and the process of mediation itself. I have two lovely guests with me in the studio. Lizzie Iron is the Director of Oxfordshire Family Mediation. Hi, Lizzie.
Hi, Malcolm.
Nice to see you. And Jane Hedges is one of the mediators. Hi, Jane.
Hello, Malcolm.
Good to see you too. Lizzie, I'll start with you if I may. Tell me then, what is mediation? Let's start at the very beginning.
Okay, Jane's going to come in a bit later with some more detail, but mediation is essentially an opportunity for two parties in all sorts of different circumstances to talk through the problems that they've got between them and to work together to find solutions. And the point of the mediator is that they facilitate the two people to work it out together.
Now, you're not like a relate, are you? You're not working to keep a couple necessarily together. Let's get that right.
Let's get that clear. You're absolutely right. Certainly at the moment, we are very much a service for after people have separated.
Yes.
Or if they're moving through separation. We may certainly consider other services and expanding our remit, but at the moment, it's much more about organising your life after separation.
Yes.
So it's particularly about how do you work out the arrangements between you for the children.
Yes.
It can also be about how do you split your assets, what do you do about the money and the house. It's that sort of thing, and it's about practical solutions for the circumstances you're in.
How do the sessions work, Lizzie?
Let me pass you to Jane for
Yes,
that,
go
because
on
she's
then.
a practising mediator and she does it every day.
Let's talk to Jane. Jane, good morning. Yeah.
Good morning, Malcolm.
Tell me how these sessions work then.
Mediation can be tailored very much to individual clients' needs. So the most important thing to be aware of is that we usually see clients individually to start with,
Okay.
to give them an idea of what mediation involves and to help them decide whether it'll be helpful for them. If both parties want to come in, then we organise a joint meeting. And at the very beginning, we hear from the parties what they want to talk about, help them to prioritise the issues, and they set their own agenda. The whole emphasis is on people reaching their own solutions. So we will manage discussions in the way that best helps them to say what they want to say, hear what each other is saying, look to the future, consider the children, if there are children, and look towards practical solutions. So we help them to leave the past and questions of blame out of the equation.
Yes. That's very interesting. How important, Jane, is it that this is led by the people who come to see you rather than led by you as the mediator for them?
That is the key issue, is that people need to talk to each other, and that is our aim.
Yeah.
We're there to help those discussions, but as far as people can talk respectfully to each other and stay on track, then we do whatever we can to allow that.
What are the common problems, Jane?
I think the most common problem is conflict and people having a feeling that they're not being heard. So it would be easy to say that debt is a common problem, or emotions, strong emotions, are a very common problem.
Yes.
But if I was to put my finger on what is the most common problem, I think it is a feeling of not being heard by the other.
Do people, Lizzie, come to you instead of going through the courts?
What we're trying to do is we're trying to get a much more collaborative process going around this. It's a very important issue right at the moment because there's a big government agenda around trying to keep people out of court.
Yes.
Court is very expensive for the country. It's very expensive for the individuals as well, depending on who's paying. But so the drive at the moment through the Ministry of Justice and other government departments is to get people to sort out their own solutions. And mediation is definitely flavour of the month with the government.
Is it better for the people involved, though, that they come to you rather than go through the legal process?
Absolutely. It is usually cheaper, quicker and longer lasting than going through the court. Because if you go through the court, you will have a solicitor. You pay thousands of pounds over the course of a divorce procedure to a solicitor. You are in an adversarial process by its very nature. So your solicitor is trying to get the best for you, your ex-partner's solicitor is trying to get the best for them,
Yes.
and that's conflict.
Yes.
Whereas mediation is about trying to find that agreement together. So it's cheaper. It will still cost money unless you are eligible for government funding, but it is a lot less money overall.
And are more and more people, do you find, coming to mediation rather than going through the courts?
One of the reasons we're here today is that I don't think that message has got through enough to the general public.
Neither do I.
So although within the industry everybody thinks mediation is taking off, and actually there are lots of people training as mediators, it hasn't filtered through to users yet. So one of the things we're trying to say is don't necessarily think divorce solicitor. Think divorce, separation, mediation. Can I make this a constructive process? You do need a solicitor, and we work in collaboration with solicitors, because at the end of the process you will need something that is turned into a legal document, a consent order, which then goes through the court. Unless you can do the whole thing out of court, which is the ideal.
Yes.
So one of the things that we do as mediators, we also help people understand the legal process that's involved
Yes.
in formalising a divorce or a separation.
Yet if they choose to stay away from the courts and the solicitors, can you still help?
We can. There may be a limit as to what we can do, but it depends if they need their agreement ratified by the court,
Yes, I
or
see.
if they can actually agree and stick to it themselves. So the whole point about this process is that any family going through separation is going on a journey, and there are lots of different services that will support them on that journey. There's actually a new group forming in Oxfordshire called, at the moment we call it the Oxfordshire Dispute Resolution Group, although we're looking for a more catchy name. But it's about all the different services working in cooperation to help a family go through that journey constructively.
Jane, why did you become a mediator, and how much training did that take?
The training takes about 2 years, and it depends whether you want to be accredited to do Legal Services Commission work, which is what I did want to do. So I had to attend core training with the National Family Mediation Council, and that took 3 months. And then I had to prepare a portfolio of work, and so I had to work with experienced mediators and write up the results of 5 cases, including children's cases and cases involving pensions, property and finance. So it's preparing the portfolio that takes a long time, but that has now enabled me to work for people receiving legal aid as well as private clients.
Can it be difficult to break down the barriers between a couple that have separated often? Is it always difficult?
I think mediation is difficult work for people because most people come to us looking for information and advice, and almost one of the first things we say to them is we don't give advice and we don't counsel relationships, but we can give you information about family law, and we can signpost you to other places that might be helpful. And the difficult thing about mediation is that we're expecting people to work themselves and to prioritise issues, to formulate aims and hopes for the future, which some people come to us and they haven't even done that. They are so locked in the present and the past that they're unable to see the future. So, in a sense, mediation provides a safe place for people to talk through difficult issues and to throw out ideas, knowing that they're not going to be held against them or used against them later on in court, because all conversations are confidential.
Ah, that's important to know. You talk of emotion, Jane. Can it get very emotionally charged?
Yes, because people are usually talking about the most important things in their lives,
Yes.
which are usually home and family. And so people bring with them a great sense of loss. So meetings are emotionally charged because we encourage people to talk about their feelings of loss, not in a self-indulgent way, but sometimes the other party hasn't heard everything or what needs to be said. However, we do manage meetings in a caring way, and we try not to allow loss of temper or a complete breakdown in the room. We'll call a break before that happens.
Liz?
Yeah, it's one of the great skills of the mediators to balance the emotional context
Yes.
with focusing on practical solutions.
Yes. Sue in Abingdon wants to join in. She's texted me. Have you ladies ever had a couple that have come to you, says Sue in Abingdon, who's texted us on 81333, and they've been helped by you and they've been able to almost reconnect and make peace with each other and get back together? Does that happen ever? Yeah, Jane?
Yes, it has happened. As a service, we are there to mediate after separation, but I do have to say that if parties find their communication is improved,
They're starting to talk
they
again.
do
Yeah.
sometimes ring in and cancel that next meeting.
Really?
And say, we're talking, and sometimes it's because they're getting back together, and sometimes it's because they're able to talk, and they don't need mediation at the moment.
Is that what you would say would be a success? What do you count as a success, Lizzie?
It's a very good question, because as far as the Legal Services Commission is concerned, success is a written agreement.
Yes.
But as far as we're concerned, really, I think as Jane has just put it, the success is about getting that communication flowing better. And I mentioned briefly earlier that we might consider extending our services because we're all in a changing climate. And one of the things that I think we might consider, particularly in response to the recession, is for people who can't afford to separate but whose relationship probably has broken down, there must be ways to mediate to say, well, you still have to live in the same house because that's the economic reality, but how can we help you work out the behaviours that will make that more bearable? So we don't do that at the moment, but I think it's something we could do.
Yeah. There's two things we need to do. Time's going to beat us, and it's been lovely talking to both of you today. The first thing is, when we last talked about the Oxfordshire Family Mediation Service, we had your patron, a lovely chap who you know well, called Sir Hugo Brunner in, and he was sat where you're sat, Lizzie, and he was doing a walk. He hasn't done it yet. It's a walk to raise funds, isn't it? And raise awareness of what you do. Tell me more about that.
Thank you, I will. Yes, Sir Hugo is terrific. He used to be the Lord Lieutenant of Oxfordshire.
Yeah, he was great.
He's of a good age, I don't think you mind me saying that, and he's walking the Oxfordshire Way for us, which is 65 miles. He's doing it over a week, starting on Sunday the 17th of June at Bourton-on-the-Water, and finishing with a cream tea at the Henley River and Rowing Museum. And he'll do the way which goes round the north of Oxford. And the idea is that we want people to sponsor him, we want people to walk with him. We're trying to raise the last £15,000 for our children's services. He's been working on that for the last 2 years, and this £15,000 will take us up to a £100,000 pot, which enables us to provide the children's services free of charge to children, which we spoke about last time with Hugo and Sophia.
Yes.
So 17th to 23rd of June, register on our website or go to our Just Giving page. If you can't walk but you'd like to donate, we are at www.ofm.org.
And the other thing, and this is perhaps just as important as that, people have listened to us now for, 15 minutes or whatever. Some people might be sat at home thinking, well, they're lucky, the people that get to use your service. I could do with using your service. Well, we should tell you that anybody listening, anybody in Oxfordshire can use this service, can't they?
Absolutely. And as I said earlier, we really want to get the message across to people that you may think solicitor, but actually you can come direct to us. And if you come direct to us, the whole thing starts at a lower level.
Yeah.
Lower level of conflict, lower level of money. And if you need a solicitor, then that's fine. But if you come to us first, you start at an easier level to manage. And we're Oxfordshire, so we have services in Headington, which is our main office, North Oxford. But we also have appointments in Witney, Didcot and Banbury.
It's very important that, so you can just pick up the phone and away you go.
Yep, and the phone number
Yes, please.
is 01865 741 781.
Or you could email with the address you've just given us. Remind us of that.
www.
I have to think all the time as well. Yeah.
at ofm.org.uk.
Yeah. ofm.org.uk. Yeah.
And that will get you into the website, which will tell you a bit about the services. Obviously, the other contacts are there. And the email, the direct email, is admin
Yes.
at ofm.org.uk.
Lizzie, thank you for coming in. And Jane, thank you for telling us about your work with OFM as well. I've really enjoyed the last, 15, 20 minutes, and I hope our listeners have as well. And let's talk again.
Thank
Shall
you,
we do that?
Malcolm.
We'll do
We'd
that.
love to.
Lizzie,
Thank you